And here we go. Here we go on this beautiful Monday evening in the city. It's 6 o'clock straight up. That means it's time for Real Talk Memphis. Very happy to have you with us this evening. I am your humble host, Chip Washington. It is good to be here as well. I tell you, when I think about weekends and the weekend just passed, it was literally like 20 minutes. I mean, you work hard towards Friday. When you get to Friday, you get through that. You get into Saturday, and it goes by like that. And then Sunday goes by in about 10 minutes, and then you're back at it on Monday. But you know what? It's good because this is the place I like to be, especially on Monday evenings at 6 p.m., hanging out with you. Hope you had a good weekend out there as well. We have a pretty good show for you tonight. This has been a day of news, to be sure, and we'll talk about all of that in just a minute. But I would like to lay out, first and foremost, how you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting. Well, I'm always happy when you ask that question. There's a number of ways to do that. Right now, we are live on WYXR 91.7 on your FM dial. You can also catch us on the TuneIn app, WYXR.org. We are on Facebook Live. When the show is posted tomorrow, we will be on YouTube, and we will be available wherever it is in the world you get your podcast. So that's always something nice to look forward to on a Tuesday. Let me back up. Last week was Pleasure Week here at WYXR, and I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you who contributed to the coffers here. They met their pledge goal. We have a lot of talent here at this station, and a lot of folks worked hard to put that whole week together. But it doesn't mean anything if you are not listening and you are not supporting us and you are not a part of us. And I'm really happy to be a part of this station. And again, congratulations to Robbie, JB, Shelby, and Kate. For an amazing job and amazing week. And thank you again, WYXR listeners and supporters. As well as the show tonight, as far as the show tonight is concerned, we have some pretty good guests. We hope that you think so. Dr. Judy Martin is going to join us a little bit later. She is the executive director of an organization that deals with folks with Alzheimer's and dementia. Those are two illnesses that many, and far too many of us are familiar with out there. And she's going to talk to us about her facility and how they do two things. First of all, they support people with Alzheimer's and dementia, in a respectful way. And they also give caretakers a break as well, because they need one as well. We'll talk to her about that in just a few minutes. We're also going to have Mr. Al Lewis, or Al Man. It depends on what he signs in on social media. Al is a longtime community activist in this town. He's not afraid to use his voice. He's not afraid to express his thoughts and opinions about issues that he doesn't agree with, and a lot of folks are the same. But Al's going to join me in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk about some of the issues that are happening in our city. Lord knows there are quite a few of them. And a little bit later on, we're going to have a young lady who is, first of all, the University of Memphis each and every year selects outstanding alumnus in various categories. And we are proud to have one of those with us tonight. She recently received the Distinguished Young Alum Award. So she's going to be joining us. Her name is Candace, and I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name. I'm going to let her do that. I'm going to try to remember that during the segment. So she's coming up a little bit later on. So as we do each and every Monday right around this time, we like to celebrate you and your current trip around the sun. If you had a birthday over the weekend, if you have a birthday today, if you have one this week, this is your time. Now, this is the time where we do the big shout out, and we do the best shout out in the country. So if you are, into such things like that, prepare yourself, because we're about to do that right now. I can tell you right now, we don't have a lot of birthdays today. Lola, you got a birthday? Okay, no birthdays from Lola as well. But we're going to get into it. But we can't do that until what happens? I say, hit it, Bren. So it is your birthday. Happy birthday is going out to, this is a short list today. Patrick Halloran celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Shalisa Alexander, to Calvin Anderson, and to Debbie Grundy Chalmers. You folks are celebrating your birthday today. And I do have another birthday shout out one day early. I'm going to shout out my guy. He's like my little brother, and he's a great human being. His name is Mandrell McLaughlin, and his birthday is on tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful day. He's a great guy with a great family, and tomorrow he's celebrating his birthday. So to each and every one of you, happy birthday. I hope this day has been filled with fun and laughter, and we hope that we will be around next year to help you enjoy your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Mr. Brand. All right, so some news and notes going on here today. First of all, locally, right about now, there is a mayoral debate that is happening live at the Halloran Center downtown. So you have a chance to listen to the candidates and hear their questions and answers, and who you think might be best suited to be the mayor of this city as the election heads quickly towards us in the fall. Speaking of politics, the Tennessee Three, we all know who they are, right? Two Justins and, of course, Gloria Johnson. The two Justins expelled from the House, but quickly put back and reinstated on a special election basis. There's going to be an election for those seats in, I think, August, June, and then the primary is in August. I'm not concerned about the fact that they're going back. But today they were in Washington, D.C., and they had a chance to meet the President of the United States in the Oval Office. That must have been a pretty big kick. He congratulated them for their efforts on trying to recognize the fact that we desperately need gun control in this country. He is trying to do everything he can, so he said, but he really praised them for their courage and for their fight for this. And it's always nice to be recognized, by the big dog. The President of the United States did that. Locally, Governor Lee, of course, the legislative session is officially over for this year, but Governor Lee has called for a special session at some point to address gun control issues. During the session, there were several proposals for some sort of gun control. These assault weapons that people use pretty frequently to kill other folks and things like that. Not one of those bills was taken up in legislative session. So he's going to call a special session to see if he can get somebody's attention. All right, so one of the big conversations that is happening around here is the pick for a new Memphis and Shelby County school superintendent. Now, if you're following this soap opera, it's a mess. I'll just say it like that. Initially, there were 4 candidates who were chosen by a search committee. Interestingly enough, the board, who's actually going to make the final selection, didn't really know a lot about how many candidates were involved, who these folks were and everything. So let's just pause that. Okay, hold on to that for a second. So let's fast forward. We had 4 final candidates. All right. Since all of this confusion has taken place, 2 of the original candidates of the 4 finalists have dropped out. One of them took another job in another district. The other one was said, they decided that they wanted to pull out because of the confusion in terms of this search committee and the individuals involved. There's been a pause put on the selection of a new superintendent. Since then, there have been 2 additional people placed in the final, selection process. So that makes 4? One of those dropped out. So that makes it 3? 2 of the members of the 3 are actually Shelby County school employees. Now, here's where the problem comes in. The current interim superintendent of education, Tony Williams, was given that position with the stipulation and understanding that she would not apply for the permanent position. Well, at some particular point in time, she decided that she was going to apply for the permanent position, which she has done. And they've named her a finalist. Well, there's something wrong with that picture right away, because if you take the job knowing that you're not going to be a part of it, which was the stipulation for you getting the job. Now, I don't have a problem with her applying for the position. That's fine. Apply all you want to. That's great. But step down now, because you have an unfair advantage over everybody else who is trying to, openly and objectively get this seat. But you're already in the seat. So that causes a bit of a problem. There is another candidate who is an assistant or an assistant superintendent, Angela Whitelaw. She was actually one of the two interim superintendents when the last superintendent got moved along. So now you have two people who work for the system who are finalists, and you have another gentleman who is outside or not from here in the system. So where's the fairness and equitability in all of this? If you're going to end up picking a local candidate behind this, then you shouldn't have gone through this in the first place. You wasted $100,000 plus on a search committee. So today, there was a special meeting, which is going on right now, by the way, at the school board to address all of this. This morning, one of the school board members, Michelle McKissick, had her own press conference to talk a little bit about the frustration involved in this, and also that she thought that the public was being denied the access that they should have in choosing who is going to lead the district that is going to be over their children. So, as I said before, so she had that press conference this morning. And she also said special interest might be involved in the next election as well. So there is another school board meeting scheduled for tomorrow evening at 6:30. This is shameful, and it's a mess, and it's embarrassing, to us as a city and as a community. We will keep you posted as to what happens in terms of this situation, because as I said before, it's a mess. Let's see here. I don't know if you were paying attention to a local Teamsters Union 667, who were the sanitation workers, were on strike about a week or so last week. A couple of weeks ago, one of their former colleagues, was killed at a landfill. So they were on strike for the improvement of safety conditions, and as well as making a little extra money, at least like $3 an hour. Well, that started to become a thing last week with the city council and other community leaders getting involved in this. Cut to the chase. A proposal after a meeting with a Republic company and the Teamsters Union workers ended up being ratified and approved. They are back on the job, and they will be back picking up the trash collection and everything else. It's a shame that it takes a tragedy to instill change where change was needed long beforehand. And one final note. The Grizzlies play tonight in Los Angeles for, this is game 4, right? And I just have one note before this game starts right now. If you guys are friends of Dylan Brooks and you have his cell phone number, why don't you give him a call and tell him, stop talking and start playing? How about that? If we can do that, and do that well, we could do two things. We could come out with a victory, and then we can have a whole lot of momentum when they come home in a couple of days. Okay, I'm done. That's it for news and notes. Talk too much, man. They talk too much. That's it for news and notes, and we're going to take our first break. And when we come back, I'm hoping that we will have our first guest. I don't see him up there in the queue, but hopefully we will have our first guest, and we will chat about a few things that are happening in and around our community. This is Real Talk Memphis for this beautiful Monday evening. I am Chip. You know who you are. We will be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Hello, Memphis. Urban Earth is a proud supporter of WYXR 91.7 FM. On Saturday, April 29th, Urban Earth is hosting our annual Flicker Fest, which will feature live music by Jeff Hewlett and Devil Train. We'll also have multiple food trucks, beer from Crosstown Brewery, and activities for kids and adults alike. The festival will be held at 80 Flicker Street under the Union Avenue Viaduct in Midtown. More information at urbanearthmemphis.com.
WYXR is supported by the Onstage at the Halloran Center season, presenting Frank Ferrante in An Evening with Groucho on Saturday, May 6th. Actor Frank Ferrante brings his stage portrayal of this comedian to Memphis, where the audience becomes part of the show as he ad-libs his way throughout the performance in Groucho style. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
At WYXR, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and businesses who are making an impact in Memphis. If you are looking for ways to spread the word about your business on air and want to support WYXR at the same time, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org. Do you want to place your company in front of Memphis cultural consumers and influencers? How about interacting with them in a meaningful way? WYXR's second annual stereo sessions at the Memphis Listening Lab is back. We are looking for sponsors to support WYXR's exploration of unsung albums from the musical history of Memphis. For more information, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
Hey, I'm Will from Crosstown Brewing Company. We support WYXR 91.7 FM. A favorite beer is just like a favorite song. We feel something new every time we encounter them. Cheers to playing the hits and tasting the notes.
Do you want to place your company in front of Memphis cultural consumers and influencers? How about interacting with them in a meaningful way? WYXR's second annual stereo sessions at the Memphis Listening Lab is back. We are looking for sponsors to support WYXR's exploration of unsung albums from the musical history of Memphis. For more information, email us at sponsorships@wyxr.org.
WYXR is supported by Minglewood Hall, presenting jazz guitarist and innovator Pat Metheny, live Tuesday, October 10th.
Good evening.
More
Good evening. How you
information
doing,
regarding
Chip?
reserved seats at minglewoodhallmemphis.com.
All right.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. And as I said earlier, you know, there are a lot of issues that are happening in our city. And you know, we really have some challenges that we're dealing with right now in terms of crime and a lot of other issues as well. But one thing we're thankful for are the people who are not afraid to speak up. People who are not afraid to exercise their voices and opinions because community activists and protesters are the change makers in our society. And I'm very happy to have one with me now. Al Lewis is a longtime community activist in this town. And he's not afraid to challenge the decision makers and the politicians in terms of what is happening in our streets. He joins me now. And Al, it's good to see you, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Good evening, Chip. It's good to see you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, you know, I reached out to you initially because there was, I guess, a meeting, or I know there was a story done about the fact that our juveniles are a bit of a challenge these days, to say the least. And as we are starting to realize the fact that school will be out in just a very few weeks, the police are trying to, I guess, be proactive and maybe even trying to target these young folks as to being out on the streets at a certain time, vis-a-vis curfew. But this had initially, Al, to be targeted at the downtown area, and we all know that's where the tourists come and that's where the money is. And I did see a story about that, and I did see that you had an opinion about that, because it felt as if they were targeting these young people and really not addressing the solution. What say you about that?
Well, this seems to be old hat for certain entities in Memphis, in particular the Memphis Police Department. And you nailed it initially when you said there would be tourist money downtown, and of course they don't want to disrupt or interrupt that money, and I understand that, but I don't think that's a healthy or fair, equitable way to deal with that. As you said, if we're putting leverage on the behavior of a few, the first thing I want to qualify is not all young people are doing this.
Right.
A very, very small percentage are doing this.
Right.
And so this is casting a wide net to perhaps deter a few people. And I don't know how deterrent that'll be as quick as they can do certain crimes now. I don't even know if that's a deterrent, but my concern is based on the language and how it was written, it seemed to be code for Black children instead of just children. There's certain ways of targeting dress. What do you mean inappropriate dress? What is inappropriate nowadays? How do they determine what's inappropriate?
Yeah.
And so it seemed like, again, the old Memphis default of not being straight is as if they cannot effectively police without violating some right or human dignity.
That's a very, very important point, and a lot of folks are taking it like that. I think, first of all, I take offense to the fact that we're just talking about downtown. We have a whole city here. We have a whole county, and crime is permeating every area of it. But you're right. There seems to be a targeted, a direct focus on our young Black youth. And I know that there is some concern. I know the merchants are talking and they're chirping pretty loud downtown about all of this. And as we're getting into a place where kids are going to be out of school, so you're going to have that additional element. But you're right, when it starts to target clothing and other things. But how do you legislate this? Because this whole curfew deal has been going on forever. There's been a law on the books forever, but it's not being enforced. What makes now so different?
Well, first thing, let's go to this. The children get out of school every summer. This
true.
is the first time children have gotten out of school, and this isn't something that we could say would be unpredictable as more guns have proliferated into our communities, and with the advent now of fentanyl, the narcotic coming in, and the easy access to guns and breaking in cars to perhaps steal guns. I mean, that's an invitation. I understand that. But again, how do you apply these policies equitably and fairly? I wonder if white children will be targeted the same way that Black children will be targeted just for walking down the street.
Al, all of us know that we have a serious problem on our hands, crime problem on our hands. We've seen the advent of juvenile crime escalate to points where we've never seen this before. I mean, it's bad out here, okay? And
no doubt about that.
Yeah, and any of us who don't think it is, we're not paying enough of attention. But Al, you're a man of these streets. What do you see is the problem? But more importantly, what do you see is the solution? What are we missing here? I mean, there's a missing quote in here somewhere, and we're all trying to figure out what it is. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Sure, I do, man. And there's a principle I learned from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and one of them it is seek first to understand, then be understood. And that essentially equates to listen empathically, to listen with our whole being. And young people need to be listened to. They don't particularly articulate as a more seasoned or older person would. So young people tend to articulate with their emotions or lack of, or behaviors. But those behaviors are speaking something to us. They need to be heard in a way that, first of all, that they can trust people that not just going to lecture to them, but rather sit down and engage them to see what happened.
There's an old saying, meet them where they are. And that sounds like exactly what you're trying to say. You got to meet these young people where they are, to the place where they can feel free to have a conversation with you and be comfortable in the environment that they're doing it in. Am I hearing you right?
Oh, absolutely, man. And I've been involved in this kind of work, Chip, for 30 years, man. And I'm working right now with Inside Circle, who we intend to bring some processes to the Shelby County Jail down there to try to do some intervention stuff with the prisoners, long-term prisoners, and to also diffuse that into the neighborhoods and streets. We're looking at something like community quality circles where we can train trainers to intervene and to know how to listen and techniques to help mitigate and reconcile trauma that young people have. Can you imagine being a young person today, Chip, going to public school? Can you imagine what it feels like to go home and know somebody may be looking for you with a pistol instead of their hands?
There's no saying that comes to mind when you say that. Hurt people hurt people. And
oh my God.
And I've had a lot of people on this show, and that expression has been used a lot. What does that mean to you?
Well, what it means to me is people who are traumatized are likely to traumatize somebody else. The facts say that people that have been shot are more likely to shoot first. And people who've been shot at are more likely to shoot first because of just the natural trauma that happens to one's body when they're involved in that kind of activity.
There is a big-time trust issue in this city between just citizenry and law enforcement. And we saw that, of course, firsthand with Tyre Nichols, and I know you were very vocal about that. That's something that will forever stick with me and really stain our city. And of course, people like you who have community voices and a lot of these protesters are trying to desperately change the way things are done internally inside the police department. What's your take on all of this, and where can we go from here in terms of trying to build that trust, or can we rebuild that trust?
You said rebuild. I don't know if there's ever been that kind of trust here in Memphis between the police and the majority of the citizens, so-called black people, brother. I don't know if it's rebuilding. I think it would have to require a total effort of building some rapport and trust with the black community. And that it's going to take, first of all, some humility and admitting some things on the Memphis Police Department, of them admitting something. I don't see them at that point right now, Chip. I don't know if they're actually ready to do that. I think they're so habituated into violating people's human rights is that they don't really know another way of getting an effective job done. And so I don't have an answer to that.
That's that of course is a continual conversation. I mean, I know that there's a definite mistrust. It's interesting that you say it's not necessarily. I don't know about a rebuild. It's never been a build in the first place. Well, that in and of itself is a bigger problem altogether. When you have 5 law enforcement officers sworn to serve and protect, do what they did to Tyre Nichols, not only does that predicate in anger, but it really does predicate a sadness too, does it not?
Oh my God, yes, man. It shocked me and both saddened me that to see human beings treating other human beings in that brutal of a manner, and then to see that they were black men treating another innocent person who was in their custody to treat him like that, which gave rise to me to think, how often has that happened and the person not died? And then they doctored the records to say that this person resisted or something. How many other times has that happened? And so I think a rational person would conclude that wasn't an isolated incident.
Yeah. Well, look, we need full accountability. We need the spotlight where the spotlight needs to go, and that's where longtime community activists like you and so many of these other younger ones coming along right now are really making a difference. And Al, I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to come on with me and talk about it, because there's truth in what you say, and I think when I hear you talk, I hear you say there needs to be a lot more truth. If you're going to talk, you need to talk truth, and we need to be able to try to build off of that. Am I correct in that?
Correct, man. I think if you look up the etymology of the word truth, you'll come to the word tree or oak, upright and firm, something that you can touch, that's vertical. And that's, the word verily, verily, that comes from the word vertical is there. We know it's there. And I think a lot of times what we have used, have allowed language to do is cover truth. It is what it is. And by that, I have this old saying I use often, Chip, from one of my favorite authors. His name is Derek Jensen. Mm-hmm. And he says, hate felt for so long doesn't feel like hate anymore. It feels like right now.
Oh, wow. That's deep. Well, listen, man, I got to leave it there. I got to run. But listen, Al, thank you, man, for taking the time to come on my show tonight. I really appreciate you, and I hope you'll come back down the road.
Anytime, Chip, man. Have a good day and have a good show.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. Al Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, truth in the conversation. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears and talk about Alzheimer's and dementia on this edition of Real Talk Memphis. Every now and again, it happens. The girls are laughing at me. Real Talk Memphis. A quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
WYXR is supported by the Museum of Science and History, presenting Laser Live, which brings live music and laser light effects together for a live concert series in the Mosh AutoZone Dome at the Sharp Planetarium. Laser Live begins May 13th with Hope Claiborne and Soul Scrimmage. More information at moshmemphis.com.
Shangri-La Records proudly supports WYXR. They offer a selection of vinyl, CDs, books, and more. Shangri-La has operated in the Memphis area for over 3 decades, and they are located at 1916 Madison Avenue in Midtown. They're open 7 days a week. More information at shangri.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast, and there are two illnesses, there are two diseases that are becoming more and more prevalent in our society today, and that if you have not been personally touched with it, you probably know someone who has. And I'm speaking of Alzheimer's and dementia. Well, my next guest is the executive director of ADS Memphis, and these are facilities that are sort of daycare facilities for people who have either Alzheimer's or dementia. And I'm really happy to have our next guest, Dr. Judy Martin, with us. And Judy, it's good to see you. I pray right off the top, I praise you for the work that you're doing. I've known you for a while, and I know how I almost want to use the word consumed when it comes to our population and our people. Tell us a little bit about the organization that you head and kind of what it's all about.
All right, thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you today to speak about Alzheimer's and dementia. Yes, I am working with Alzheimer's and Dementia Services of Memphis. It is an agency that has been in place in the Memphis area since about 1983. Okay. Not many people knew about it at that time. Yeah. Because it was really, the care was being provided to a really small group of people who had means. And they recognized that the issue, the problem was one that was growing in our community. And there was action occurring across the country and in the state where there was a focus on trying to figure out what needs to be done to assist people that were being diagnosed at an increasing rate with Alzheimer's. So Memphis kind of was one of the first players with that. So 1983 is when this agency began. And then in 88 is when they moved over to their own building in the Raleigh area. And they worked in that one location for many years. And then in 2004, they split off and opened a second location.
So that just tells me, Judy, that and you briefly alluded to it, that the number of cases in reference to these two illnesses has really grown, hasn't it? Predicating the need for facilities like the ones that you have, correct?
Absolutely. It really is such an issue. And I would tell you that I would even go so far as to say that if more people realized the benefit of an agency such as this, there would be more people using it, because there's so many people that have a need for it and they don't access the services that are available.
Now, in terms of that, one of the things that caught my eye as I was reading about your about your organization there is that you it's a twofold deal. One, of course, you're dealing with these patients, Alzheimer's and dementia patients, and so you want to treat them with the respect and dignity that they deserve. But more importantly, this is the daycare, and this provides a respite, if you will, or a bit of relief from those caretakers who are dealing with these folks on a daily basis. Talk about that.
Absolutely. And they're equally important. So if I could talk a little bit first about the therapeutic care that we provide for the individuals that have the disease. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely not a facility where people just sit around and hum or rock or any of those things that some people think of when they think about somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's. What happens here is it's a really dynamic environment. Mm-hmm. There are individuals that are cognitively stimulated. They are intellectually stimulated, which is a great thing to keep the brain active mm-hmm. and keep it functioning and keep them engaged, keep them social. So there's the intellectual piece, because you want to try to slow the progression of the disorder. Mm-hmm. And by stimulating the brain, you can help to do that. For example, we even have Spanish classes. They get to learn Spanish, those types of things.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Working puzzles, all kinds of things that stimulate the brain, help them to think, but it's not in a threatening way that makes them feel insecure. Mm-hmm. It's in a safe way.
Right.
Also, socially, friendships that develop, these people who they kind of pair up, they call it buddies, with people, and they get to have a quality of life, right, even at this point in their lives.
So good, good interaction there. Yeah, great. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Definitely the interaction. Yeah. And then physical also. Physical is a great thing. I'll mention that because that's really important. People don't just sit, as I said, all day long. They're assisting them with their personal needs, but they also do things like exercise. Mm-hmm. They do chair exercises every day, a couple of times a day. And then they also get up with the individuals and actually go on walks. They may walk around the center, and they take them outside. They have outdoor space that they get to enjoy being outside. So there are lots of great things for those individuals, and we call them friends.
Absolutely that. Now the other
I was going to say, if I could say a little bit about the caregiver.
Yeah. Go ahead. Then I want to talk a little bit about the people. I mean, the caretakers themselves. But go ahead.
Right. Okay. So I'd love to talk about them. So the caregivers, it definitely provides respite for them. One of the most challenging, and I will tell you, statistics show that caregiving for an individual with Alzheimer's is the expense, the financial expense, as well as the toll that it takes on the caregiver, far exceeds that of a person taking care of a person with a heart disease, any of those other chronic conditions that somebody may have. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason is because Alzheimer's, it's over such a long period of time, and it just really takes a toll on the individual, even to the degree you hear about caregivers losing the fight with keeping themselves up and moving, sometimes even before the person who has the illness passes away. Yeah. That person who is the caregiver may pass away.
This is, and I think organizations like yours, facilities like yours, put a spotlight on just how critically important it is, not only dealing with people with these specific these disorders or diseases, but really the folks that care for them, because there is a tremendous stress that goes, like you just said, that goes along with them. And people who do care for folks with Alzheimer's and dementia, they need some time, to sort of, kind of recover, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better word, to be able to function on a daily basis. Am I correct in that?
Well, so as it relates to the individuals who are the caretakers during the day, we provide training. And then there's also this thing that we do when we even interview and hire the folks who work in this type of a setting. There's sort of almost a personality, if you will. There's certain types of character or nature of individuals and how they respond, how they move, that can be more comfortable around individuals that have Alzheimer's. It's also helpful if they've had some experience with individuals that have had that type of a need. And if they've taken care of somebody in that setting, then they're not taken by surprise by some of the things that could occur in this type of a setting. They do have built in, they have the break time and lunch time, but they are engaged throughout the day. I would not say that the work itself is extremely stressful, but again, it does take a certain type of person who can do that work.
Absolutely that. Judy, before I let you get out of here, I need to you give people who are interested in learning more or wanting to know more about adsmemphis.org, ADS Memphis. Can you give me some contact information, some numbers, websites, if they want to reach out to you all and find out more information?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. adsmemphis.org is our website. adsmemphis.org. It is our website, and we're working on trying to update the website as we move through. But that's a good starting point. The contact information is there. The telephone number here at either of the centers is the same. It's 901-372-4585. 901-372-4585. And that number is the same again at both locations. And you can someone will take you to where you want to go if you call that number. Yes.
Dr. Judy Martin, Executive Director of ADS Memphis, thank you for coming on Real Talk tonight. And thank you more importantly, for what you do for so many out there in need. Really appreciate you.
It is my pleasure. And thank you. I appreciate you as well. It's a pleasure to be able to share this information with the public.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judy. We'll be talking down the road. Yes, ma'am. Take care. Judy Martin, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a lot of folks out here who are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. It is a big issue, but it is nice to know that there is a place that is dedicated to helping those who need the help the most. We're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to a young lady who is just, shall I say, distinguished. That's all you'll get. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll be back. Right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
River Series is a proud sponsor of WYXR. The series continues May 13th with Mark Eggers Stewart and Aaron James, and May 20th with Chapel Hill, North Carolina's Spider Bags, and a tribute to Memphis's Flat Tire Rockers Limes. Doors at 4 p.m. for both shows. Tickets and more information at riverseries.org.
Church Health's Memphis plan continues its decades-long commitment to serving local musicians with comprehensive health care and also tailors its focus to small business owners and the self-employed. Healthcare through the Memphis plan provides care in Memphis for Memphians. Related services include preventative health, optometry, dental care, and more. More information regarding availability at memphisplan.org or at 901-272-PLAN.
Did you know you could donate your vehicle and support WYXR at the same time? We offer free pickup and it's tax deductible. Go to cars.wyxr.org to donate your car today.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
Welcome to our Facebook folks out there, the Facebook Live tonight. I see you all out there, my brother and a lot of other folks out there this evening. Cheryl, thank you all. Jet for checking in with us, Michael Harris and the like. Really appreciate that. Also appreciate celebrating accomplishments. The young lady that I'm about to, first of all, the University of Memphis honors its students, and each and every year they have a very special ceremony where they honor some of their former students for their accomplishments, today, and some of the things that they have done to represent and honor the university in a wonderful way. And we have one of those. They had their award ceremony over the weekend, and one of those honorees is Candace Ifabiyi, and she received the Distinguished Young Alum Award, and she joins us now. Candace, it's good to see you, and congratulations.
Thank you. Nice to be here today.
Absolutely that. So, the school does this every year in various categories in honoring former students. And first, let me just ask you how you found your academic experience to be at the University of Memphis.
I had a great time at the University of Memphis. It's a top-notch university. I'm a CEO today, so I would say we've had a great ride with the University of Memphis.
Yeah, absolutely that. And you are a CEO today. And if I can remember this correctly, you are the youngest CEO at a VA in St. Louis. Am I correct in that?
I am the youngest and the first African-American CEO appointed at the St. Louis VA.
Well,
that's correct.
Well, young lady, that's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Everyone keeps saying it's a big deal. I'm just excited to be in the role, and I love what I do, and I'm honored to have that accomplishment.
They've been around since 1940, so this is a pretty big operation. How many employees do you oversee at this complex, at this facility?
3,500 and growing.
3,500 and growing. So as a CEO, you're in charge of a lot of things. Well, I mean, actually, you're in charge of everything. You oversee everything. What has been, first of all, how long have you been in that position?
In that role, I've been in that role for about 2.5 months. I've been a CEO before. My last position, I was the first woman CEO since the 1930s at that facility as well. But in St. Louis, I've been in the role for about 2.5 months. I oversee 2 hospital systems in St. Louis.
What do you find to be the biggest challenge involved in all of that?
The biggest challenge really is making sure I have staff that are engaged and able to do the work and provide excellent quality services for veterans. Because I'm a veteran myself, I love the VA, and we want to make sure that we're the best with everything that we do. So
Yeah.
it really is staffing.
It really is staffing and finding the right professionals, because there's a as you say, there's a lot that goes into all of this and running a facility like this. And I was really impressed when I heard about all of this. Now we do have someone else. I thought we did. Did we have someone else that was?
Yeah, I'm. For some reason, you can't see me, but I'm here.
Okay, well, introduce yourself, voice, so we know who you are.
I'm Joanna Curtis, and I am the Vice President for Advancement at the University of Memphis.
So, Joanna, welcome to the show. And there is a process that goes into selecting individuals for these distinguished awards that you do every year. What are some of the things that you as a committee, you all, as you're planning this every year to pick these individuals, what is it that you're looking for specifically in a particular honoree?
So we have our National Alumni Board are the ones that bring forward the nominations, and people can submit nominations anytime during the year. And we have a couple of different categories. Now, Candace was the recipient of our Young Alumni Award. Mm-hmm. And so there we are looking, of course, for alumni that are 40 or younger who have accomplished something in their career, in their philanthropy, in their community outreach, that makes them stand out. Our other awards are for the Distinguished Alumni Award is more of a Lifetime Achievement Award. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the reasons we like having the Young Alumni Award, because we get to see what somebody's doing in the middle of their career, right, instead of it being a celebration of the end of their career. Mm. And so many of our DAA recipients are leaders in their industries. They have been involved with the university and have given back and volunteered with the university. They have been community leaders who've served on boards and have worked with nonprofits, right, really the people that exemplify what it means to be a Tiger, to be engaged in the community and to be excellent.
Absolutely. That's really wonderful, and a wonderful program that you have in terms of this. Candace, you are pretty young still, and you've already been a CEO twice in your career. What are you looking to achieve as you move forward in your career? I mean, I don't know how much bigger you can get than being a CEO of two healthcare facilities, major ones in the VA complex in St. Louis there. But I mean, do you have other goals and aspirations, things that you may want to tackle down the road?
Absolutely. I want to make sure that I leave behind a really great legacy where I've paid it forward. I've helped young people who want to do the same thing or do something similar and help them with their careers. And I want to make sure that we're doing the very best that we can do for our veterans. They've served our country, and I want to make sure that we take care of them.
Do you see?
So really my focus is quality, paying it forward, and just doing the very best that we can do as a healthcare system.
Well, you know, that phrase, paying it forward, is a big one. And Joanna, I would imagine that in and of itself, when someone says that to you, that does exemplify the Tiger spirit, does it not? Paying it forward, man, moving, trying to be a leader, a trailblazer, and trying to pass it on so others can ascend, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And that's, you've heard Candace's credentials there. It's very easy to understand why she was this year's recipient of the Young Alumni Award. Mm-hmm. But we also make a point with DAA to engage our current students at the event and look for opportunities to engage our outstanding alumni with current students, because we want them to see somebody who has taken the path that they're taking and who has succeeded in some of the industries that our students are striving to succeed in. Yeah. So we really look to our DAA recipients to also be role models for our current students.
Well, I would say that kudos for what you've done in terms of your selection, and congratulations to the University of Memphis for putting out and producing such fine talent. And Candace, I'm very proud of you. I mean, you know what you have done at such a young age, and more importantly, the spirit of what you pulled from the University of Memphis, your time at U of M, and more than that, the willingness of saying, you know what, it was a wonderful experience. I want to see more of our students in the future be able to ascend to the levels that you're at, correct?
Absolutely. I couldn't have done it without the University of Memphis, without my community. And I just want to do the same thing for those who are coming up behind me.
Well, listen, this has been a great conversation. Thank you to both of you, Joanna Curtis from the University of Memphis, and of course, Candace Ifabiyi, the recipient of this year's Distinguished Young Alum Award. Congratulations to you both, and thank you for taking time to be on the show, and onward.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night. Thank you so much.
You too.
Now, that's how you want to end the show. You want to end the show on an upbeat note. With everything else that's going on around here, it's nice to see accomplished people, and of course the University of Memphis supporting the accomplishments of these young folks, and never forgetting the lesson to give back. And as Bryn plays me out, another great show, I think, tonight. I hope you felt the same. You know, we try to do this each and every week to the best of our ability. And I never forget, ever forget you, the listener, the viewer, however it is you get us. I truly appreciate it. And I would say to you, I hope that you continue on watching us, supporting us, encouraging us to continue to do the job that we're doing. More importantly, passing it on to other people, letting other folks know that they haven't checked out Real Talk Memphis. Give us a shot. Just check out the show and see what it's all about. You'll either like it or you won't. We hope that you will. So as we get out of here on this beautiful Monday night, my thanks to Nicole, to DJ Lola, to Bryn, and to you, our audience. So until next time, I'm Chip, and I'm out. We'll see you soon.